And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the always pressing PGA DFS podcast, previewing the 2020 Sanderson Farms Championship, where if you win, you get to take home a luxurious cock to your house. And it's a great, great time. You can find me on Twitter at BDintric and my co-host, as always, to preview this event that's got a little stronger field than usual. You can find him on Twitter at DFS Golf Gods. Jesse, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right, dude. I'm usually the one who tries to catch you off guard, and you got me this time.
Yeah, I do what I can. I can't help it with this event. When every picture you see after the final round, like last year, Munoz, they're all holding this like big rooster. And how do you not make like I'm a 2-year-old at all times. Like, how do I not make a joke about that?
I get you, man. I mean, I knew exactly what you were talking about as soon as you said it, but it's just one of those things that it was a little bit surprising. But
yeah, that's what I'm here for. People are going to turn on the show in the first few seconds.
Like,
what did I tune into? Did I turn into a different golf podcast? No, you're here. But how you doing? How things going?
I'm good, dude. You doing all right?
Yep, we're doing good. Getting to record a little earlier tonight, which makes me very happy.
Yes,
we get to watch some Monday Night Football, which will be awesome. But we have a fun event to talk about. But briefly, any thoughts on Punta Cana, where Hudson Swafford got his second career W? Again, some names towards the leaderboard that we'll know more of in the future. Get to kind of see him showcase this week. So any thoughts on Punta Cana?
Not much. Like we were talking about before the show, you asked if I watched any. I watched the last putt because somebody had tweeted out that Swafford had an 8-footer to win. So I like to watch those types of things, and he drills it. But yeah, I mean, I've been a fan of Hudson for a long time. He's hard to play in DFS because he's so up and down. But I'll always like him, especially since you can just call him Swagford, and
yes,
it's very easy. But yeah, I mean, other than that, man, I don't know, dude. I had 1 6-6 last week, and they all finished like T20 or worse. So it didn't really matter. I played 3 lineups. I mean, it's just hard to get into that when there's no shot tracker.
It was tough. Very tough.
Chris Kirk is 7 under through 18 holes until he turns the scorecard in. He's 1 under.
Yeah, that was
and
tilting.
Then backs it up the next day and goes to the house. So yeah, I mean, it was a weird week, and I kind of thought they would maybe have shot tracker down there this year since there was no. But I guess the logistics of getting it there and getting people to run it and shit like that.
My only guess is getting people to run it and teach them how to use it, because if they're already taking all the cameras down there, they had cameras on so many holes. Like, how do you not have the capability of having equipment for shot tracker? I know they're different things. I get it. I've witnessed to what they are. You've seen what they are. Probably it's a different implement, but you basically need about 2 volunteers per piece of equipment. About at least 2 spots on the hole, maybe 3 spots depending on how many holes. So you need 4 to 6 people per hole. Is what it comes down to, give or take. And usually the first 2 rounds, because they're longer, they need twice as many because they don't make them work the whole day. They basically just follow 1 round, and then the afternoon wave or whatever, they switch them off. So yeah, you need a good amount of people. So that could definitely be it, because it is tilting. I forgot all about it, and I remember Thursday morning, it teed off at like 3:30 in the morning my time. So I woke up at like 4:30 or 5, pull up the app to see how things are going. I'm like, yep, here we are again. Sweet. Okay, I'll see you Sunday. So that's pretty much what happened there, because I did tilt my face off on a few things. But it was fun to see, like you mentioned, Swafford making the 8-footer to win it. He was pumped, which is awesome to see. But Ty McCumber, a guy I mentioned last week that can go low on courses, and he finished second, and he made like had to be close to a 20-ish, maybe awesome, like plus or minus footer on 18 to tie Swafford to go into the clubhouse leader. So that was awesome to see. And I thought he was drilling it past the hole. Like, he had a BB at it and just dunked it. So it was fun to watch. It was good to see what I did get to see. I didn't get to watch all of it because you watch football on Sundays. So I was watching the replay last night. But it was fun, and we get a similar field with slightly better competition, but we should expect a massive birdie fest yet again this week at the Sanderson Farms. We're seeing Cam Champ win this. We saw Sebastian Munoz win it. But before I say even more, why don't you give us some past event history?
Yep. So Sebastian Munoz was the champion last year. Just to kind of throw this out there, last year was the first year that this was not an opposite field event. So in the past, it's been really for the past 5 years before 2019, it was a WGC opposite field event. So the fields weren't very strong. Last year gets stronger. They bump it up from $4.4 million purse to $6.6 million purse. Anyway, Sebastian Munoz wins 18 under in a playoff over Sung Jae. The year before, Cameron Champ broke through 21 under par, 4 shots over Corey Connors. Ryan Armour was the 2000 17 champion, 19 under 5 strokes over Chesson Hadley. Cody Gribble.
Ooh, blast from the past.
Yeah, been a while since you heard that name. 2016 champion. I think he's a lefty, isn't he? Or no, he's
I think
not.
you are correct. Yes, I think you are correct.
4 strokes, Chris Kirk, Luke List, and Greg Owen. I mean, you can go back further. Nick Taylor's won here before. Scott Stallings, Chris Kirk has won this tournament before. There's a few other names on there that people may know, but I mean, there's a lot of event history here. So it's that is something to consider this week, this week.
Mm-hmm.
When making lineups or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned Corey Connors. That's one thing we didn't mention. Corey Connors missed the cut at Punta Cana, so that was pretty fun for those that played him. Just think about that one when you're playing him this weekend. We know he's always the tilting putter, but he's shown he can play here. And we talk about putting. We talk about Sanderson Farms. We talk about the Country Club of Jackson in Jackson, Mississippi, where this is at. You mentioned the tournament's been around for quite a while. It was renovated in 2014, the course. So this variation's only been around this will be the 6th year of it or so. So we'll have to keep that in mind. But yes, these guys have played this course quite a bit. Par 72, 7,461 yards. So it's a longer course, but very birdieable, as you were talking about. Lots of low scores, 18 under to 20 under, give or take, is what you're looking for. And it's an interesting course, though, in the fact that, like half the par 4s are like 475 and longer. It feels like half of them are like 420 and shorter, like a third fit in the middle. So it's like some guys, bombers appreciate it. Some short guys can do well. Same goes on the par 5s. 2 are pretty gettable, and two you probably take 3 shots unless you're an absolute bomber. The par 3s, you got like 2 180 and below, 2 that are over 212. So you got something to think about there. It's just an interesting designed course, but most importantly is it's not penal if you miss the fairway. It's like, I think 54% roughly hit the fairway last year, but close to 68, it was like 69 to 70% still hit the greens in regulation. So the rough's only about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, so it's not very penal. So you'll be fine there. But it's a very, very gettable golf course. You just don't go super astray. There's trees on the course, but you have to really hit it awry to get into the trees. It's a Bermuda course all over the place, the fairways, the rough, and the greens. So Bermuda putting, people talk about greens you putt on. It's very big. Like you'll hear these guys that love putting on Bermuda do very, very well here, especially guys from the South. The last 3 winners here are all from Texas, if that's something you want to look into. But like Southern golfers, Bermuda golfers, birdie boys are the ones you're going to look for this week. So kind of like last week, guys that can make a lot of birdies and get a hot putter, but even more so now that we have a lot of data on Bermuda and whatnot. So what stats would you be looking at this week?
I mean, a lot of the same stuff as last week. I mean, you got to make birdies, so birdie or better. I look at par 5 scoring on this particular golf course too. Plenty of course history, greens and regulation, driving distance. I mean, if you look at some of the past winners there, Cameron Champ, obviously. Ryan Armour, not so much. Munoz, can hit it okay too, but I still weight that. I mean, I think you still are at an advantage if you look at somebody like Bryson DeChambeau, who just hits it a mile and then wins the U.S. Open. Something I'm going to continue to weight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And you mentioned last week that you wanted guys that could, you were looking at driving distance, and I was listening to, I think it was Noah Laying Up or someone. They looked at it, and like if you look at the top 10 leaderboard, majority of those guys led the field in driving distance. So you could probably look at something like that again this week. Cam Champ winning obviously makes sense. Munoz isn't the shortest hitter in the world, not a bomber, but not the shortest hitter in the world. So a lot of similarities like you're talking about. Then again, you got guys like Ryan Harmer and a few others. So who knows? Right. But in the end, it always comes down to who put it all together, and that's just either you're going to bomb it and have short shots in. They said like Cam Champ the year he won had 8 irons into some par 5s, where most guys don't. But some guys might have approach shots close to 200 yards even on par 4. It's a long iron play, or just bomb the crap out of it. So there's a couple different ways to play this course, obviously. So it'll make things very interesting to see where it goes. Let's check out fantasiersports.com, good friend of the show. Use promo code ALWAYSPRESS for 20% off the package of your choice. And they are back up for us this week. Looking at some things, just guys coming in good form over the last 6 events. Scotty Scheffler leads the way, obviously, making his return from COVID. So that's good to see with Scheffler, and he's going to be priced appropriately, as we'll see. But after him, it's Sam Burns, Siwoo Kim, Cam Davis, Christopher Ventura, and Pat Perez round out your top 5. So some interesting names there. If you go through the top 10s, there's a few names that line up in a lot of spots, but I'll let you guys figure all that out. If you look at just Bermuda greens over the last 6 events, hey, Scotty Scheffler leads the way again. Doc Redman, Davis Riley, who's played 3 events on Bermuda, Matthew Neesmith, Louis Oosthuizen, who's been out of the tournament now, and then Matthias Schwab. Now we make it a little different. We do par 72 over 7,400 yards, and you get Charlie Hoffman surprisingly leading this field in DK scoring over the last 6. That stood out to me a bit. Then Sungjae, Adam Schenk, Davis Riley, Sean O'Hare, and Zheng Zhang comes through there. Last but not least, I wanted to combine the two because people are going to emphasize Bermuda a ton. So I did par 72s over 7,400 yards with Bermuda greens. So basically what they are seeing this weekend. And you get Sungjae M leads the field. They got Taylor Gooch, Charlie Hoffman pops up here again, Fratelli, Scheffler, Benny On. But again, if you go through the top 10 on all of those, there's some interesting names that stand out, at least if you're looking for value and whatnot. And I'm really curious to see the course fit guys that they come up with this week. Because if you look at past event history, like we're going to talk about, and some kind of guys coming in good form, the course fit should be pretty interesting, to say the least. But with all that rambling, let's get on to your DK picks for the week. And we'll kick it off 10K and above, where we have 4 guys. We got Scotty Scheffler at 11-4. You got Sungjae at 10-9. You got Zalatoris, Will Zalatoris, coming in hot again off another top 10 finish at 10-2. And then Benny On at 10K. Where are you going up top, Jesse?
I mean, I think this is a week to use some of these top guys. Look at a guy like Scotty Scheffler, 16th here last year, 45th the year before, and is coming off a second place finish at the Tour Championship. Didn't play the U.S. Open, or did he? He didn't play the U.S. Open.
No,
right?
He missed it because of COVID.
Oh, that's right. He tested positive. So, you know, he's interested. I mean, will he get his first win? Will Sungjae get his first win? Will Zalatoris?
Sungjae has a win. Don't discount Sungjae.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He won the Honda.
It seems like
forever ago.
A million years ago. It was back in March. And then, or Will's, Ben On, who's got good course history, at least as far as the one time he's been here, 3rd place. I think Ben will be popular. I think Sungjae will be popular. So my two leans up top here, not huge fans of either one, but Zalatoris, it's hard to argue with his form. 8th place last week, 6th place the week before at the U.S. Open, and then of course Scotty Scheffler. I mean, he's just been playing well. Previous to his COVID deal, I would have liked to see him play the U.S. Open because he's one of those guys who can hit it way out there and has the approach game, not necessarily the around the green game, but he can put up birdies in bunches. So my two leans here would be Scheffler and Zalatoris. Not a huge fan, but I think that you can get some lower ownership on Scheffler in those two guys versus the other two up top.
Yeah, we're pretty much on the same page. If I'm paying up, which you don't have to in this field, but if I am, Scotty Scheffler's my guy. I'm going back to him. I'm not worried about the COVID. He said he was asymptomatic. He didn't even know he had it. I wouldn't be shocked if he's been hitting balls in his garage and been playing, after the first 14 days. And he's like, I'm not worried about Scotty at all. Like, I'm just going to let that one roll. So 11-4, I'd be all over that. Like you mentioned, birdie and bunches, good fairway finder, can bomb it out there. He's a great play for me this week, and you can definitely afford him because there's a lot of discounts in a field like this. So Scotty Scheffler at 11-4, I'm all about that. The other guys I'm kind of hit and miss on. Like you can see him play well. On's got the good history, but when his putter's off, it's just disastrous. Will Zalatoris is my only tough one because you can't argue the form. 8th last week, 6th, 2nd in his last 3 events, which is just outstanding. Took a week off, and then you go back to his Corn Ferry days. 19th, 5th, 18th, 6th, week off. 14th, 5th, week off, 1st. That is pretty good. Pretty good. But I'm just a little concerning because of the workload he's gone through. He was even planning on taking this week off until he T10 last week to get him into this tournament. So he wasn't going to use one of his special exemptions. He was going to take the week off. Now he's playing it. It's tough, but at 10-2, he's playing great golf. So if you want to go there, I'm cool with it. I have no problem with it. If he's low owned, you should probably use some of them if you're playing GPPs. But if I'm playing just one guy up here, and I don't plan on playing more than one guy up here, Scotty Scheffler is my target at 11-4. I'll go all the way up top and take the best player in the field, in my opinion. 9K range, you got Sebastian Munoz, the defending champion, at 99. Sam Burns at 98. Doc Redman at 97. Zach Johnson's up to 96. Let that one sink in for a minute. Adam Long at 95. Harmon at 94. Fratelli 93. Connors 92. Reevy 91. List 9,000. It's nice. It's like a back-to-back weeks of a real $9,000 range. So what do you have here, Jesse?
A lot of tilt in this range, though. But, I mean, that's to be expected in this field. Sebastian Munoz, 9,900, defending champion. made the cut in all 3 appearances at this golf course. He's been playing really well of late too. I mean, the U.S. Open finished 59th, not great, but he made the cut there. Had a terrible weekend. Tour Championship top 10, BMW Championship top 10. So give me all the Sebastian Munoz. Sam Burns, he's got good course history as well. 45th, 3rd, and 43rd in his last 3 starts here, which are the last 3 years, and has made 2 straight cuts. 28th last week, 7th at the Safeway. So I think he's okay. I'd rather have Munoz. Adam Long, man, 9,500. Adam's a guy who I've mentioned quite a bit in the past, and I was really, really salty that I wasn't on him last week.
Mm-hmm.
He did finish 23rd here last year, and then last week he was the 54-hole leader and shot 75. But that's golf, man. I mean, shit happens. So 5th place last week, 13th at the U.S. Open, pretty solid. All the Adam Long at 9,500. I think Corey Connors is fine. I do think he'll be more popular. He did miss the cut last year here, but was 2nd in 2018, and then 65th in the 2 year, or 65th. That's just 165. I don't know why they have it listed twice. 65th in 2017. Coming off a missed cut, Punta Cana, U.S. Open. I mean, I don't know. I'd rather have Long and Munoz myself than him, and then Burns even above Connors. Who you on?
Before I go who I'm on, I just have to ask because I'm not on him right now. But Luke List finished 6th last week. He finished 2nd here in 2017. Missed the cut here last year. He's a guy that can bomb it. It's always can he putt. Are you a Luke List guy this week or no?
No. I mean, he always that, and this is no offense to Pat Mayo, but I feel like he gets the Pat Mayo bump.
Pat Mayo bump. The ownership, yeah.
Mayo's all over him, and he's just kind of like Mayo's bet week in and week out. And I understand why, because if he ever does get a hot putter, the ball striking is always there. So that's what he's betting on, because I'm sure his odds are going to be long. But from the ownership perspective, like last week, he was 14% owned. I mean, obviously it paid off. 8th place finish, 97 DK points. But the week before that, also 14% owned, where he finished at the Safeway, where he finished 65th.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd rather be on the other side of that. That's just me. It's kind of how I view things. So,
no, it makes total sense. I just wanted to bring him up. The guys I'm on this week in this range, this is why I really don't know if I want to go up top. I'd rather get maybe 2 or 3 guys here, kind of go stars and scrubs, but start with the 9K range. At least 2 for sure. I love Sam Burns. You mentioned he's 45th last year, 3rd the year before, 43rd. So 3 for 3 made cuts. 28th at Punta Cana, 7th at the Safeway. So I'm a fan of the form coming in. And I know I'm referencing the No Laying Up podcast enough, but if you're regular listeners of the show, Jesse and I listen to that one pretty regularly for the most part. And it's really entertaining stuff. And they had Max Homa on to recap Punta Cana, but then also create their own 18-hole golf course from different holes on tour. And somewhere along the line, Sam Burns' name came up. And I guess Homa he started talking about him. And Jesse, did you listen to the show yet for one?
I have not, no.
Okay. Can you guess what PGA player Max Homa compared Sam Burns to?
No idea.
Dustin Johnson. And that stood out to me in a big way because he says once it clicks for him, he says the ball striking ability of Sam Burns is what he sees when he plays with Dustin Johnson. And I'm like, holy crap. Because we've seen him throw low and compete in tournaments, and then there's other tournaments where he kind of blows up. And so Homa's kind of saying, okay, he's that talented. He really is. He just hasn't put it together yet, like obviously DJ does. And I'm not saying he's going to go win 4 tournaments and 7 events, but he can compete basically. And I was already, that's very high praise. And the crappy thing is I was already loving Sam Burns this week before I heard that. So that's not good. But I'm a big Burns fan this week. It's at 98. At worst, because I'm really confident in his cut-making ability, let alone to go low and contend. So Burns I like at 98 quite a bit. Doc Redman, I expect his ownership to be kind of high because everyone's kind of on the Doc Redman train now. Made the cut here last year, 3rd at the Safeway. He seems like he's starting to get closer and closer to maybe breaking through on one of these. So at that 97 price point on Redman, I like that quite a bit as well. And then the other guy I'm looking at, if you want a lower own play in this range, because he'll go completely overlooked, I think, in this range. Finished 14th here last year. He had a 38th at the U.S. Open, and then prior to that, 12th, 11th, 27th in his 3 previous events. I think Brian Harmon at 94 is very interesting. He's a Georgia boy, so he comes from the South, Bermuda putter. I think Harmon at 94 is going to go way overlooked in this range. And I'm not again, can he win? Maybe 14's not bad, but can he get you through, get you some birdies, and can at least top 20, maybe better? Yes. So Harman at 94 is a guy I have circled here as well to go with Redmond and Burns. But Burns, my favorite in this range. All right. Let's get into the 8K range on this one. Henrik Stenson at $8,900. And he actually made the cut last week and finished 21st. He almost missed the cut. That was a fun Friday for Henrik. Griot at 88, Cauley 87, Sergio 86, Flat Bills at 85, Siwoo at 84, Carlos Ortiz at 83, basically Sebastian Munoz light. Patrick Rogers 82, Cameron Diaz 81, Lucas Glover, and Zheng Zhang at 8K. This is a range where you might make or break some GPPs here because there's a lot of upside, but a lot of volatility, Jesse. So what are you seeing on this 8K range?
Well, first of all, you just called Cameron Davis Cameron Diaz.
Okay, sorry. I feel really bad because he's on my list of guys I want to play this week too. So Cameron Davis, and he's on this list as well.
Let's just start there. Hell with it. Cameron Davis, 8,100. One of my favorite plays out here. Yeah. Finished 28th last year here. Missed the cut in 2018. I feel like, he's a Cameron Champ type of, just as far as his length goes, his overall physique, I'm a big fan of Cameron Davis. I don't think he's going to go under owned. At the Safeway, he was 23% owned at a higher price, similar type of field, but he paid it off. He scored 90 points there, and so more than willing to take the risk on him. I'm just going to work my way up instead of down this time. Carlos Ortiz at 8,300, fourth place last year, third place the year before at this golf tournament.
Pretty good.
Yeah, two straight made cuts on tour. The last two were Safeway and the BMW. Had three straight missed cuts before that. He's kind of up and down guy, but at 83, definitely willing to take a chance on him. Quite a few names in this range that you wouldn't expect in this field, right? Henrik obviously coming off the made cut last week, yeah. Sergio Garcia at 8,600. I'm not necessarily saying play Sergio. I saw something today where Sergio dropped out of the top 50 in the world for the first time since 1999.
I think that's why he's in these tournaments. He's trying to get back to those free paydays with WGC, maybe get another run or two at FedEx. Because right now, did he even make the FedEx? I know he didn't make the last two events. I don't know if he made the overall FedEx Cup this year.
I don't know. He played the Wyndham.
Okay, so he did. So, okay, he made that, but then he missed everything else.
Or was the Wyndham the first event?
Let me check. I got my thing right here. Scroll to the right. Wyndham Memorial or no, you might be right with this.
I think the Wyndham was like the end of the regular season.
Doing Northern Trust BMW Tour Championship. Yep. So Wyndham, so he did not make the FedEx at all. Yeah. That's wow.
Yeah. I'm not saying play Sergio Garcia at all. Pat Perez and then Siwoo in this range as well. I don't know how those guys will get treated as far as ownership. Griot is he's tilting. He made the cut here last year, finished 39th. He's made 5 straight cuts on tour, 2 straight top 30s. If his putter ever gets going, he'll be okay. But I would rather not pay up for any of these guys and stick with Ortiz and Davis myself. Let me ask you this. I ask you this every week. Is it Patrick Rogers week? I'm
going to say yes.
What did you say last week?
I said only in a GPP because he just tilts me at Birdie Fest like that. But he finished 11th. He played great. Like on Friday when I saw the leaderboard, I'm like, oh, Bubba, you screwed this one up again. But then he Saturday was kind of waffly, it felt like, and then Sunday he finished okay. So he finished 11th. That's a really solid finish. I could see the same thing here. Like you look at his past history: 61st, 14th, 29th, or 20th. Yeah. So it's like that's what Patrick Rogers does. But hey, he's made 2, 4, 6, 7 straight made cuts, 8 of his last 9. So at 8,200, he's knock on wood, good chance to make the cut. And if he gets hot like he did last week, he can contend. Now, does he often put back-to-back weeks together like that? No. But you never know. This is an event he can definitely do that. We mentioned that 14th before. So I have no problem going to him. It's just tough because I love Cam Davis like you do at 81. I love that's a great comparison to Cam Champ. That's a really strong comparison because like you saw at the Safeway, we've seen at other events, like he was on the Corn Ferry Tour. I think when he was on the Corn Ferry Tour, he was the longest driver on tour, if I remember correctly. And he's very, very much in the same vein as Cam Champ. I remember watching the Safeway shot tracker with Cam Davis, and he go birdie, 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 and then like a double bogey because he's just bombing it. And they get a little trouble here and there. Less trouble here. So that's really good for one. So I really like him a lot at 81. So it's hard for me to get to Rodgers. I like Ortiz as well in that range. It's really interesting. The other guy I like down there is Zhang at 8K. Finished 60th here last year, 11th last week, 14th the week before. I actually got to watch him a lot over the weekend. Really good short game. So if he gets in any trouble, he's going to save par more often than not. He's not going to get you the bogeys that can really hamper you in a birdie fest. And he can go low, obviously, like we saw the last couple events that he's played in. So Zhang at 8K, I think, is a very nice pivot as well. So Davis and Zhang, I don't mind going to it all. The rest of the range is kind of murky, like you said. It makes it kind of difficult. Like Pat Perez intrigues me because he's coming in actually good form. We'll say he might be getting healthy, figuring things out, but he's also more of a West Coast guy than an East Coast guy. So I'm kind of hesitant on jumping on board just yet. I'd rather kind of, again, go down to Ortiz, Davis, Zhang. The only other guy I'd really look to up here is Grillo, and it terrifies me to say it, but I almost don't mind him for cash because he's making cuts the way he's making it. I'd almost rather have him for cash than GPP because I don't trust him to contend here because of his putting. But I trust him to do just enough to make the cut in like T25 or something.
I can see that.
So I kind of like him to make the cut but not contend. So cash, which is terrifying to think about, Emiliano Grillo. I kind of like him in cash in this field, not for a GPP. I'd rather save the cash to go to Davis, Ortiz, and Zhang. That'd be kind of the angle I'd be looking at there. All right, 7K range, 7,500 to 7,900. Who are you targeting here, Jesse?
Start up top with Charlie Hoffman, $7,900. It's weird because for some weird reason, I don't know why, he's been the only guy starred on my PGA Tour app for a couple weeks, and I finally undid that last week. But he finished 23rd here last year, coming off the 14th place finish in the Dominican Republic, 56th at the Safeway, 13th at the Northern Trust. I mean, he's put 3 consecutive weeks, decent weeks together with 2 top 15. So at 7,900, I think he's fine. Stewie Sink, man, 7,600. Rates out really well on the model because he's coming off the Safeway Open winner, or winning the Safeway Open. Quite the price hike from 6,300 where he was there, but, well deserved. Hit it really well there. So I don't know if he figured something out. I don't know how much of that is just bullshit from that 1 week, because he hit a shit ton of fairways and a bunch of greens, and obviously that's what you're going to do when you win on the PGA Tour. Russell Knox at 7,500. He's not played here before, but has made 2 straight cuts, which is a market improvement from his like 75,000 straight missed cuts before. I mean, pretty weird. His season. I mean, since basically before the restart, he started missing cuts, and then he didn't make a cut until the Wyndham Championship, and he finished 72nd, and then turns around top 10s at the Safeway. I mean, he's a GPP only play. Brian Stewart, man. I don't know, man. I look at like proximity stats every week, and it seems like every week it's like Brian Stewart. So I don't know how much of this is bullshit as well, but 28th here last year, missed cut 2018, 4th in 2017. Coming off a 33rd last week, 3rd at the Safeway. So he's playing pretty well at 7,500. I think he's fine too. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we got a lot of the same guys here. One guy, Denny McCarthy, 18th last year, 7th the year before, 41st last week, but that's because he just really kind of let it go on the weekend, especially on Sunday. He's a guy that when the putter gets going, he's one of the best putters on tour. Things are really good. The approach game can be iffy from time to time, but again, off the tee here, not as big as a concern. So McCarthy at 79, I like a lot at that price point. I don't mind Stugoat, more cash than GPP, because I don't think he's going to win again right away like this. I'm just going to throw it out on a limb there. But
I think he'll go back to back.
Yeah, I don't know if Stugoat, as much as I love him, the Stugoat, I just don't think he's going back to back. Just a hunch. So I'm going to cut for cash. Sure. GPP, probably not. I'd rather go GPP with a guy like JT Poston. Georgia boy, really likes Bermuda greens, made all 4 cuts here, including 11th last year. Missed cut at the U.S. Open. We kind of take all of that with a grain of salt. And then 59th at the first stop of the FedEx Cup, 39th at the Wyndham. He was playing really well before the COVID break. He's kind of been shaky since. Maybe coming back down here will help him quite a bit. So 75 for JT is one I like in a GPP. Then I really do like Brian Stewart for cash and GPPs. I've been playing him a lot because he just seems to be too cheap for a guy that pretty much makes cuts pretty regularly. Well, maybe didn't as much towards the end of this last season. Now I look at his numbers. Good God. But he was there for quite a while. I mentioned 3rd at the Safeway, 33rd last week at Punta Cana, where the weekend was just kind of a ho-hum, fell back a little bit, nothing special weekend. and 3 of 4 made cuts here. So Stewart at 75 is a guy I do like. Him and Poston at 75 to go with the GOAT and with McCarthy in that range. 7,000 to 7,300. Who are you looking at there?
Yeah, there's plenty of options down here too, I do believe. Cameron Percy at 7,200. Three straight made cuts here for him. Last year's 11th, 2017's 34th, 42nd in 2016. 8th place finished last week, 23rd at the Safeway. So pretty solid from him. Chris Kirk, man, I mean, I know he missed the cut last week, which was tilting, especially after the 7 under turned into 1 under on Friday after turning a scorecard in. But he's played decent around here. Missed cut in 2018, 34th and 2nd, and he's a past winner as well. I don't know if it was at this course, though, because it was pre-2014. But either way, Christopher Ventura never played here. Made the cut last week. Top 10 at the Safeway where he finished 7th and made the cut at the Wyndham Championship as well. Will Gordon. So I won and done him last week.
We're gonna do this because I won and done him too. So
so it was a double. Jesse Bubba, one and done. No chance of making a cut. Misses the cut last week. He missed the cut here last year. But
he's never played here.
Yeah. No, I've got him last year finishing missed cut.
Okay. Because I got nothing on him. So that's interesting.
So it's somewhere between he didn't play and he missed.
Regardless, he didn't play the weekend, so he was working for your DraftKings on him.
Somewhere between there. I mean, I think he's okay. You'll definitely get him at lower ownership this week than you did last week, and less price. I mean, he's 30% owned last week at 7,600. This week, 7,100. He'll be significantly lower owned. I think Maverick McNeely. I know he's missed 2 straight cuts at this course, coming off a missed cut the Safeway. He's got that GPP upside I like to, target. JB Holmes at 7,000. GPP only. And I mean, if JB, like, I don't know what he's been doing. He didn't play basically in August. He didn't play half of June and then comes to Safeway and finishes 46th. He's a proven winner on the PGA Tour. I think he's GPP worthy. And then Jonathan Vegas, he did miss the cut here in 2018. He's coming off a missed cut last week. Another guy who can just get it going at any time. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting range here. Cam Tringali is one that has my attention at 73. I mentioned there's a few names that pop in a lot of those fan share things. If you go all the way through the top 10, Tringali was on a lot of those lists. And that really stood out to me because I mentioned there's a trend. Some guys love playing on the Bermudas in the South. It happens in golf. Jesse probably likes playing on his stuff. I know POA pretty well. It's just the way it is. You grow up around it, you play it. It's how it works. Tringali 16th here last year. He's made all 3 cuts of this event. Missed the cut at the Safeway, but then 29th at the Northern Trust. He's obviously a GPP only, but $7,300. Very intriguing. Richie Werwinski at 73. Massive birdie type guy. Could he trunk slam you? Sure. Missed the cut at the U.S. Open. Let that one slide. Then 20th and 68th is prior to events. Missed the cut, and then he won up there in Nevada in a 3rd place prior to that. So a big-time birdie type guy. Finished 18th here last year. He's made 3 or 4 cuts this event at $7,300. Richie Werwinski is a guy I can like. Cam Piercy and McNeely were the other 2 guys I'd written down here that you mentioned as well. Percy coming in just awesome form. Really, really good form. So it's hard to ignore that. And then McNeely, not the greatest form, a guy that can make birdie in bunches, so GPP for sure. Percy's almost coming in good enough form. He's made 4 straight cuts here, plus that 8th place last week, 23rd at the Safeway. He's almost cash viable. I'm not sure I want to lock that in there, but if you needed a lower price cash guy, I don't completely hate Percy in this event. Definitely GPP upside as well, though. So he's a good play at 72. Now, the reason I said earlier that I don't mind going to Scheffler, I don't mind maybe going 2 or 3 guys in the 9K range, is in a field like this, the 6K range has a lot of GPP potential. You're not obviously going stars and scrubs and cash, but if you're playing GPP, there's a lot of angles down here for birdie makers. And most winners here, not all, but recent winners here, I should say, were like very, very long odds. So kind of your Schwaffords, your Sinks, like we've seen in recent events of fields like this, it happens to the Sanderson a lot. So what do you like in the 6K range, Jesse?
Yeah, there's plenty to like. I do want to go back to your comment about the greens types. I fucking hate the greens types around here. I just want to say that.
Bad weekend, huh?
No, I didn't even play golf. Dude, I literally didn't leave my house this week. I watched football from noon till midnight on Saturday, and basically did the same yesterday. I didn't leave the house. The weather was actually pretty good. I'm done, dude, because it's raining today and it's
Oh,
gonna get cold.
gotcha.
Unless I go to like a really good golf course, the rest of the greens around here they just bug me because it's mostly bent,
So not
and
Bermuda.
then they all get grown out really long and they're spongy. Back to what you guys are here to listen to me about. Kyle Stanley, 6,800. He made the cut last week. He missed the cut last year at this event, but he made the cut last week, 28th place. I played him quite a bit. Jason Duffner at 6,800. I mean, talk about a guy if he can ever make a putt. I mean, he's the guy. At the Safeway, he finished 29th, but he scored 90 points. At the Wyndham, he finished 31st, and he's not getting any ownership. I mean, it's like 1-2%. So very, very high GPP upside on Jason Duffner. Davis Riley at 6,700. He played here last year, finished 39th. Played the U.S. Open, missed the cut. I don't know if he's been playing Corn Ferry events. You got him at Corn Ferry events or what?
That's what it looks like, because I don't know. I'm assuming it's Corn Ferry, but it's been miscut at the Open. But then had a week off, then 24th, 31st, 11th, miscut, 9th, 1st, 17th. So he's playing really well. The Open might have taken it out of him, was what I'm going to give him credit for. Yeah. But, he's played this course a few times. And like I mentioned when we talked Bermuda and longer courses, he's had 3 PGA events in the last year, and he's made the cut at all 3.
Gotcha. So I like him. Vincent Whaley at 6,600. 45th at this golf tournament last year, and coming off the 28th place finish at the Dominican Republic. Safeway, he was 23rd. Wyndham, 37th. 3 straight made cuts for him. Robert Streb, man, at 6,600. 2 straight made cuts here, 23rd and 26th at this event. 21st last week. He before that was miscut. 27th, miscut. 14th, 35th, 28th. I mean,
we call that getting Strebby.
I feel like the fall swing, he always just plays better. I mean, last fall swing, he made more cuts than he missed. He's got some GPP upside too, in my opinion. And that's all I got in this range. I mean, there's plenty of names down here. Obviously, I could go probably forever. What about Sean O'Hare last week, dude?
Oh, wow. Almost got there.
Blast from the past, Sean O'Hare. Good to see him coming back, though, and playing well.
Yep, that was good. Some of the guys I have here, you got Mark Hubbard, missed the cut here last year, missed back-to-back cuts, including the U.S. Open. So maybe people will be off him a bit, but people need to remember this guy can birdie a lot. So if nothing's broken with him, this could be an intriguing play. Then Tyler McCumber right below him there at 68 as well. Probably a little more popular this week after the second-place finish, but I love this guy on events where you can kind of bomb it and attack holes and attack greens. McCumber's a good guy for that. It might be a little chalkier, but definitely in play at 68. I love the Stanley call. He's on the board as well. Audubon Lahiri has my attention. He popped on a couple of those fan share models. He finished 45th here last year, finished 6th last week at Punta Cana, which got him into this event this week. Finished 38th at the Safeway. He had to fight, I think, on the Corn Ferry Tour to get his card back, battling injuries and whatnot. A guy that used to be, a mid to low 7K guy regularly, trying to get it back again. So I think Lahiri at 67 is a little intriguing. He got a hot putter last week. Maybe he rolls it again well on this one. If you want to talk course history, 36th, 7th, and 43rd. He had a 58th last week, a 61st at Safeway, and then he basically hasn't missed a cut. He's made 8 straight cuts on tour. That's Adam Schenk at 67, another guy that popped on the fan share models. So he can be a very nice GPP play down below here. You mentioned Streb, a guy I don't understand how he's still $6,500 this week. Missed the cut here last year, then an 18th, 72nd, 54th, 33rd last week, 36th at Safeway, and then a 15th and a 29th in his last 4 events now. Rob Oppenheim still $6,500, and I don't understand it. That one is, I'm going to have way too much Rob Oppenheim, and it might bite me in the butt because Thursday was tilting. I think he went 3 or 4 under real quick. Then he finished today even par. Then he went 5 under on Friday. He's one of those guys that can birdie a lot. Just hope he doesn't trunk slam you, and you're fine. But Oppenheim at 65 is one of my favorite plays in this range. And then a couple others, if you need some punts, good course history, and some decent form, Dave Hearn at 63 is a very strong one. 23rd here last year, 33rd last week, 14th at Safeway. Pete Malnati at 63. And then One at 62, if you just want to get real weird. He's made 5 of his last 6 cuts here, including 2 straight. 28th last week, 61st at Safeway. Jonathan Bird's only $6,200 if you need someone that's playing this course well. But, lots of guys you can play down here, even more than that I mentioned there. So see what happens. But let's recap things real quick, Jesse. 10K and above, who are you targeting?
I'm going to go with Will the Thrill.
Will the Thrill. I'm going Scotty Scheffler. I'm just going to take the chalk on that one, but he might be low on, so I'll take it. 9K range, who you got?
How many? Or what are we doing?
Go 2. It's a loaded range. Go 2.
Seabass and Adam Long.
I'll go Burns and Redmond. So that'll be my 2 there. 8K range, go 2.
Ortiz, Cam Davis.
I'll go Cam Davis and Zhang Zhang. 7K, 7,500 to 79, go 1.
Damn, 1.
Go 2.
Charlie Hoffman and Russell Knox.
I'll go McCarthy and Stewart. 7K to 75, go 2.
Percy and Ventura.
I will go Warwinski and Percy. And 6K, go 2.
Jason Duffner and Davis Riley.
I will go with Adam Schenk and Rob Oppenheim. Those are my 2 there. But, lots of ways to go this week. It's going to be a fun one. I always look forward to these weird events. I really do. I usually tilt them, but I look forward to them because you get to see names that eventually someday some of them might break through. So it's always fun. If you're building a cash lineup, 3 guys you start your cash lineup with.
I'd burn my money. Sam Burns, Kyle Stanley, and Charlie Hoffman.
I have Burns, Grillo, and Sink. That'd be my start to cash, and that just really was hard to I had to use water to take that one down, so that was tough. GPP, 3 guys you start a GPP lineup with.
Cam Davis, Russell Knox, and Ventura.
I go Scotty Scheffler, Cam Davis, Rob Oppenheim. That'd be my starting points. Now the fun part, and I think we would have done really well if we'd done the top 20 bets like I talked about last week. So I think it's another week to do it with a lot of these kind of longer shots that can finish high. But who you got winning this thing?
Man. Let me get
It's
the
tricky.
odds pulled up here. I should have had
I got Bovado in front of me here. If you got any shots you're looking at.
You go
here.
ahead if you got somebody.
Well, I think one that you're going to want to probably take a look at. Cam Davis is 50 to 1. That's intriguing to say the least. I think Denny McCarthy at 66 is intriguing to me. If you want to go course history, Carlos Ortiz after a 3rd and a 4th, 60 to 1. Can he do it 3 straight times? Maybe. You never know. So who else are you looking at?
Super long shot, Jason Duffner, 125.
Will the Thrill's 110.
Yeah. I don't trust him to win though.
Top 20 though, gotta have some value there.
Duffner's won before. Patrick Rogers at 66.
That's not bad. There's good numbers. Like, one of these days, I'm not saying it's this week. One of these days, if he keeps playing smaller fields like this, Hendrick's going to figure it out. And he's 45 to 1. He's 40. Like, he finished 21st last week. I don't think he's there just yet. Just kind of watching some of the shots he made. When I did get to watch every once in a while during the tournament. Like, I could watch a little on Friday afternoon when he was playing. He had a couple shots that even he dropped his club because he was pissed off. Like, he's not all there yet. But 45 to 1. Obviously, he's probably one of the top players worldwide in the field. That's an interesting number.
Has he won since he won the Open Championship?
I don't think so. I really don't.
He won the Wyndham in 2017.
Okay. He's a former FedEx Cup winner. So think about that. I think Sam Burns at 28 and Doc Redman at 30 both actually have decent price tags there. So that's another one to take a peek at. Benny On's 10K, but he's the sixth best odds, so that's a 7th best odds. So DK's likes him a little more than the people in the big city in the desert.
He'll be chalky. Just wait and watch.
Yep. But that'll take us through the Sanderson Farms. I'm looking forward to this. I hope now we get Shot Tracker back. We're gonna have PGA Live. We're gonna have all the good stuff back this week. Jesse, any final thoughts for this week's PGA Tour action?
Good luck.
Yep. It's going to be a doozy. So join us in this free Slack chat. If you have any questions, just hit one of us up. We'll get you on in there. Also, give us a rating and review on iTunes. We appreciate it a ton. But check Jesse out on Twitter at DFS Golf Gods. I'm at BDentrick. And until next time, this was your always pressing PGA DFS podcast previewing the 2020 Sanderson Farms. Catch you guys later.